Hi, today I'm going to show you how to make this nice card that has this fun little pinwheel element in the center. The paper that we're using is from the Fanfare paper packet. This is from our newest idea book, and it features the colors of Pacifica and Cranberry and Sunny Yellow, Sky Blue, and on the back side of the blue paper is a black pattern, so you can easily pull in some black into your projects as well. You can see behind these little squares, I have a square of Cranberry and a square of Pacifica. These are 2 5/8 inches square, and we'll begin by layering these two pieces. Before we do that, after I get my pieces cut, I generally am going to sponge most of my edges. On this Pacifica piece, I'll use Pacifica ink. On the yellow, to set it off just a little bit more, I will use just a little bit darker color, and I'm going to use the sunflower ink. So you get your stamp pad, and I'm using just a small wedge, and I'm going to tap it into my ink pad and then lightly brush it along the edges of my paper. Another option that you have is to use the direct to paper technique, and so I'm going to use my Pacifica stamp pad and take my little square paper. I'm just going to turn my ink pad over and lightly brush the ink along the edges of the paper. Sponging the edges really makes a difference in the way your finished project looks, so take a minute and do a little bit of sponging. You can see I've done a little bit darker sponging on this white piece. I've also sponged this Cranberry B&T on the background. Okay, let's get back to layering these two pieces of cardstock. I'm using a great little tool. This mat that you see in the background is called a Versamat. I use this for every project that I make. It's got a nice 1/4 inch grid all the way across, makes it very simple to line things up. And I've taken this little square of cardstock and placed it exactly in the center of my mat. So these lines would intersect exactly in the middle, and you just check the corners and make sure they're in the same place to make sure that you've got it lined up evenly. I want to layer this blue piece. I'm going to go ahead and put some adhesive. I'm using a Tombow adhesive. Really love using this. Very easy to line this up using the Versamat. I'm just going to line up the 4 points on these this cardstock with these dark white lines. Put the tips on there, adhere that, and I've got it centered just perfectly on here. Now we're ready to start layering our small squares. I'll start with one of the yellow squares, and as I lay this on, I want to leave this left edge open so that I can stick another paper under. So I'm only going to put adhesive on this right edge. So I'll put a little bit of the Tombow on there. I'm going to leave just a very small border showing, about 1/16 of an inch. We'll go ahead and stick that piece down, and we'll alternate colors. So next we're going to use a piece of the blue, and this is going to go right here in the corner and leave just a sliver of that Cranberry showing. Next we're going to come back to a piece of the yellow, so just another little square, and that's going to layer right over the top of that blue piece, the first one that we put on. And we're back to the blue. I already have the adhesive on here. Go ahead and stick that on, and then a yellow piece. And then we are back to the blue. And then yellow again. And we are down to our last piece. So just make sure that you don't catch that edge of this yellow piece, because we need to stick this last blue piece under that edge that you left open with no adhesive. So this one's just a little tricky to work in there. Get that border straight, and then you need to come back and put a little adhesive on that one edge and stick it down, and there you have your fun little pinwheel element. That was really simple. It looks much more difficult than it is. So let's continue layering our card together. We've got our card base, and we're just using white for this card. And we'll put our little piece of Cranberry B&T on here. A little tip when you're working with B&T, the papers are 12 by 12 inches square. If you make your card so that you're leaving a border of cardstock showing, you can cut this 4 inches wide rather than 4 1/4, and that allows you to get 3 pieces out of your 12-inch sheet of B&T. So it just helps you to better utilize your paper. So we'll go ahead and stick that on there. Next, we need to put our sentiment on here. So we're going to come back to our stamp with our Pacifica stamp pad. When you're stamping, you want to have a cushion behind your surface. So you can either flip over your Versamat, or you can grab the little square of foam that comes in your stamp pad. That's actually what this is for, so we'll put that under there and ink our stamp. When I ink my stamps, I like to twist and then tap. And the clear stamps are so great because you can see exactly where you're stamping. So you'll have a perfect impression every time. And there we've got our sentiment on there. Let's go ahead and layer this on our card. So we'll apply some adhesive. And you can see as I'm using this Tombow, I'm just using little tabs of adhesive rather than putting a long solid line of adhesive. Just helps your adhesive last a little bit longer, and you really don't need a lot of it. It's very sticky. So there we've got that piece put on. We'll come back to our pinwheel, and I want a little dimension here. So I'm going to use some 3D mounting tape. So I'll just cut 4 small pieces of this and stick it on the 4 edges of my element here. Then we'll peel off the backing. I love the look you get adding just that little bit of dimension. And then I'll place this on my card, leaving an even border along the top and the sides. Now you can see on our card we have a fun little circle and a button in the middle. So I've just punched a 1-inch circle, and I'm going to do some scissor distressing. If you'll just open up your scissors, and you're just going to scrape the edge of that paper. We have this great white core cardstock that is great for distressing, for tearing, for sanding, for scissor distressing. So that takes just a minute to do that. And I'm going to adhere that to the center of our pinwheel, and again, I'm going to use some of the mounting tape. I'm going to cut 2 small pieces and stick those on my circle, peel off the backing, center that in our pinwheel, and then all we need to do is to add a button, and I've already tied a piece of cranberry waxy flax through the holes in the button. I'm going to use a glue dot. These are the large glue dots. The easiest way to use these is to take your button and lay it right on the glue dot and then lift it off. Much easier than peeling the glue dot off and then trying to get it off your finger onto your button. And we'll just place that right in the center of our card. And there you go. We've made a quick little card that would be perfect for a birthday or just thinking of you. So I hope you'll give it a try. Thanks.